Abuja, I am Muslima Sholebo.
And I'm Abdul Malik Adio. First, the headlines.
President Buhari and APC governors strategize on sustainable development initiatives.
We will collaborate more to ensure that security is enhanced.
President Buhari signs bill on National Institute for Security and amended Federal Polytechnic Act.
Presidency welcomes IRI and National Democratic Institute reports on 2019 elections.
Plus, European Union reiterates need for legal reforms to improve elections in Nigeria.
The Progressive Governors Forum has resolved to chart a pragmatic course towards the execution of the renewed mandate to the governing APC by Nigerians in dismantling obstacles to national development for sustainable future of the country.
Chairman of the forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, announced this after leading the APC governors to an interactive session with President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Samo report.
This is the first formal meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Progressive Governors Forum since the inauguration of new administrations at both the national and state levels. While the President and the returning members of the Forum are barely 3 weeks into their renewed mandate of consolidation for the newly elected governors of the party, it is still a learning period. To the Progressive Governors Forum, however, there is no better time than now to plan for a more coordinated approach towards making the next level agenda more decisive and impactful on Nigeria's national life. This meeting, held behind closed doors, was therefore convened to bring the President up to speed on strategies towards the implementation of the new initiatives for a better Nigeria.
We offer our support to work with Mr. President continuously to ensure that we increase economic performance and social cohesion. We will be very more active in ensuring that investment in all the areas that can provide employment and incomes rapidly will increase. We will collaborate more to ensure that security is enhanced, particularly where it involves conflicts that are across state borders.
Although the newly elected governors might not have benefited directly from the President's magnanimous gestures in the last 4 years, their respective states must have either felt or are still feeling their impact. And on this, the APC governors were unanimous in appreciating the Nigerian leader.
We are quite happy with his support for states, where over 2 trillion, close to 2 trillion naira was given in the form of restructuring of loans, refunds on federal roads, refund for Paris Club, which has helped encourage economic activity in the states, payment of salaries, payment of pension, payment of gratuities, and overall investment in the economy by infrastructure spending. We are equally appreciative of increased investment in agriculture, which has been because of conscious decision to support agriculture as a way out of our economic challenges and provide economic growth.
The governors used the opportunity to commend President Buhari for the giant strides recorded so far in the areas of security, economy, and public accountability. Despite the drop in incomes, they say the value for money, which the President has always insisted upon, has been paying off with significant results in critical sectors of the economy. The governors also appreciated the President for successfully celebrating the new National Democracy Day, not only consistent with his promise, but also a major element reflective of his democratic ideals, thereby putting to rest an issue so important to many Nigerians. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has been given the go-ahead by President Muhammadu Buhari to implement his robust initiatives for enhanced socio-economic development in the Center of Excellence.
This was during a meeting with President, who also granted audience to the Governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the details.
Describing his first formal engagement with the president since coming to power as an honor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State briefed the Nigerian leader behind closed doors on his robust plan of action for the development of the state. Most importantly, his mission is to seek for cooperation and collaboration with the federal government, as well as the approval and support of the president.
Essentially to improve the quality of life and business development in Lagos. And we're very serious about it to ensure that we keep our whole state safe, secure, and it's also the gateway to economic development of the country. And so we must continue to encourage the international investors and also the private sector that Lagos remain ready for business and it's safe. So issues around cultism, lethal kidnapping, bandering, armed robbery, and little things we hear about before they become challenges that we cannot deal with. As a security formation, where I've said to my team in the security committee for us to come up with a robust plan, right, where we can ensure that we continue to make our environment safe and secure for our citizens and for our investors.
What are you taking away from your interaction with the president? How did he respond to your plan initiative for Lagos in the next level?
I can't get it any better. I mean, his words were very encouraging. You know, his acceptance to the initiative that brought on board were very resounding. I'm very enthused, I'm very encouraged, and it just gives me the opportunity to go and do a lot more once we get this off the track.
President Buhari's engagement with Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State centered on security of lives and property in the center of commerce for lasting peace and prosperity.
We are always in synergy with security agencies to ensure that Kano remains peaceful despite what is happening in the neighboring states. So I showed him that our emphasis now is on community policing, community participation, especially those local governments surrounding the forest here in Kano. So as of today, I think Kano is one of the most peaceful states in the Federation.
Governor Ganduje also gives an update on the probe he ordered in respect of the 6.8 million naira allegedly swallowed by a gorilla in a Kano zoo.
The preliminary report we have received is that there was an armed robbery, not the issue of gorilla. The issue of gorilla is a junk journalism, I think, because there is even no gorilla in the zoo. So, but we learned that there was armed robbery, of which the whole safe was even carted away, but they are still investigating.
The governor used the opportunity to confirm that discussions are still ongoing towards reconciling him with the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed into law 2 bills seeking the establishment of the National Institute for Security, as well as the amendment of the Federal Polytechnic Act.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives, Umar Yakubu, announced this while briefing newsmen. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The new Federal Polytechnic Act seeks to harmonize the tenure of the rectors of such institutions, retirement age of the staff, as well as the establishment of governing councils that will have chairman and 5 members each.
The council should have a reflection of the federal interest, whereby you have, in fact, a woman shall be a member of that council, as well as a person representing the area where the institute is sited, in addition to one of the alumnus of the institute. And of course, the rector would serve a 5-year tenure, and whereby an existing rector has served, was appointed for a 4-year tenure, would have an additional 1 year extended.
The National Institute of Security Studies Establishment Law provides for effective training as well as enhancement of competencies and capacities of both the middle and senior managers in the security sector.
It will also serve as a critical research institute for initiators of policy and implementers with a view to ensuring that, we have competent people managing the security environment for global peace and stability.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has commended Nigerians in the diaspora for their peaceful conduct in their host countries. Receiving a delegation of the Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria, led by its national president, Diaspora, the president said Nigerians abroad must continue to bear in mind the sensitivities of their host communities and forge harmonious relationships. He applauded the organization for flying high the green, white, green Nigerian flag with pride and directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigeria Diaspora Commission to interface more positively with its members as well as other Nigerians in the diaspora desirous of contributing to national development. The national president, Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria, Diaspora, had congratulated President Buhari on his re-election and successful inauguration to take Nigeria to the next level. He formally conveyed their heartfelt appreciation to the president on his swift intervention, leading to the reopening of over 400 Nigerian trader shops in Ghana by the host government over some trade policy disputes. The Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria also applauded the anti-corruption campaign of the Buhari presidency and pledged its commitment towards grassroots mobilization and support.
In spite of all the politics of distractions, blackmail, sustained propaganda, elitist misdemeanor, misinformation, and unsuccessful attempts towards hypnotizing the Nigerian youth by the political class in order to undermine the visible gains recorded in the fight against corruption under President Muhammadu Buhari. We are happy to note that Mr. President has remained focused, immovable, courageous, and above all, triumphant. Ride on, Mr. President. You are not alone.
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
With $20 billion or more lying in wait to fund infrastructure by investors and the nation's economy gaining momentum, more searchlight is on the strategy being employed by the government towards profitable investment in the country. At a discussion with the delegation from Harvard Business School on this, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the focus is on the Buhari administration for the nation to be an industrialized country in the next 10 years. Correspondent Jide Onifade tells you more about this.
Present here are some of Nigeria's finest entrepreneurs and intellectuals who are mostly graduates of Harvard University's Business Faculty. The Nigerian economy is unique and exciting, especially for experts and students of economics. This gathering, therefore, is to welcome some professors from the Harvard Business Faculty willing to learn more about Nigeria and its economy. As the faculty members say, research on the Nigerian economy would provide excellent report for students of economics all over the world. Professor Srikant Datta is leading the delegation.
There is much for us to learn about strategy, marketing, organization structure, managing people, and very importantly, responsibility to society as it is practiced in your country.
As a country that's heavily reliant on oil, how do you think about preparing for climate change? What can you do, what are you doing to bring back that diaspora talent?
A lot of the time, when you look at what the strategies are saying, when you look at what the economists are saying, many times, obviously, it doesn't really quite work that way.
Nigeria's Vice President and Chairman of the National Economic Council, Yemi Osinbajo, provides answers to the questions raised on what the country is doing to improve the economy, citing the social investment programs, agriculture, the focus on having an efficient civil service for enabling business environment, and development of infrastructure such as rail, road, and power generation.
We have to rewrite regulations and encourage more people to invest in that sector. and then cost-reflective tariffs and all that. That really is, you know, where we're heading, and we think that in the next few months we will unveil a plan that we hope will deal with many of the critical issues in the power sector.
For an hour and a half, participants discussed the way forward for Nigeria.
Actually, outside, there's a tremendous amount of excitement about Nigeria, and all we need to do is figure out a way to tap into it, and this place can go places.
Cynicism is cheap. Criticism is very easy. We have to do our best, even if it means failing.
I think as we go into business, as we go into the economy, if we're dealing with poverty, we've got to think, how do we get business to make money while impacting on wider society?
At the end of it all, there is the consensus that the country remains aligned of immense opportunities for investors. In Lagos, Jude Onifade, NJ News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24 from Abuja, the nation's capital. A break beckons. When we come back, there will be more news.
To see you shine in the night like a diamond you are. I'm good on the side, so right, just hold me in the dark. No one's got to know what we do. Hit me up when you fall. I live down the street, so we meet when you need it, it's yours. All I is, and nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. I'm not. We don't gotta hide. This is what you like out of me. Nothing feels better.
Good to have you back with us. The European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria has explained that most of the recommendations contained in its report of the 2019 general elections in Nigeria requires legal reforms.
The foreign mission stated this when it visited the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, as part of consultations for National Assembly intervention. Ignatius Nko, report.
Essence of the meeting is for the observer mission to officially present a copy of its report on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria to the legislative arm of government. The report, made of 30 recommendations, also appreciated the improvement Nigeria has made so far in its electoral process, but called for more.
Of those 30, we've identified 7 priority recommendations, but really our ultimate conclusion is that a process of comprehensive reform is needed.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, explained that the National Assembly has always embraced positive changes to the electoral process.
The INEC particularly is one institution that has been supported fully by the National Assembly and will continue to do that through legislation to improve its capacity, but also through appropriations to ensure that it gets whatever it requires for very credible and optimum organization, processing, and conduct of our elections.
Both parties re-echoed the existing relations between Nigeria and the European Union and harped on the need to strengthen the ties, especially in the areas of economic and political advancement.
That was Mitari Ikben's report. In the meantime, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has received the 2019 election report by the European Union Election Observation Mission to Nigeria with the hope that the 9th National Assembly will consider the implementation of the recommendations therein in line with the nation's political culture. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim tells you more.
The report contains 30 recommendations with 7 specific areas requiring priority attention. These include reforms in the political system, improvement of election result collation processes, more transparency in the operations of INEC, and the processes that will encourage more women participation in politics.
Our 5th recommendation is that election tribunals be extended to cover the pre-election phase so that the disputes arising from the primaries are resolved before election day.
Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila acknowledged the collaborative initiative between Nigeria and the European Union, which has yielded results towards the sustenance of democracy and good governance in the country.
For us, we're going to hit the ground running in terms of electoral reforms, because you can, for me and for most of my colleagues, the process of elections, it's not just the election itself. The process is before the election, during the election, and after the election. That completes the process. So it's an ongoing thing.
In a related development, Deputy Speaker Idris Wase has expressed the optimism that the 9th National Assembly will provide responsible leadership towards solving the socio-economic challenges of the nation. This was when he received a delegation of Plateau State Youth Council on a course visit.
We hope and believe that you shall do great exploit, leveraging on our support, partnership and prayers.
The country is in dire need of good leadership because of the serious challenges we have in the nation. The gap is so much, and there are so many expectations. But together, I believe we would build a nation.
The Deputy Speaker also advocated collective responsibility approach towards achieving more progress in the country, while the Youth Council is confident that the new leadership will champion causes for greater youth emancipation and empowerment. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Now, the Joint International Republican and the National Democratic Institute have released their final report on the 2019 general elections with 5 key recommendations ahead of the 2023 general elections. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The 2019 general elections marked the 20th anniversary of the country's transition to democratic rule. The international observers believe that the elections highlighted for many Nigerians the need for a national conversation about the progress made since that transition and the vulnerabilities that must be overcome to make electoral processes more credible and the country's democracy more resilient. For the 2019 general elections, the two bodies urged Nigerian stakeholders to seriously consider their recommendations bordering on legal framework and election dispute resolution, election administration, political parties' conduct, civic engagement, and election security.
It's important that very soon a serious discussion happens about improvements or adjustments to the electoral process so that those things can be codified into law and preparations can be made to apply those new regulations and rules into future elections.
We see it, the vitality of this country, just the tremendous resources that Nigeria disposes, human capital, material resources. We know what Nigeria can contribute to the Nigerian people, what it means to the Nigerian people, but what this country can contribute to Africa and to the world.
Election stakeholders feel that INEC has improved significantly in the electoral process, pointing out that more can still be done in future elections.
They did not dispute the eventual outcome of the elections. They pointed out the deficiencies. For instance, they quoted the independent collation system of YAIGA, and they quoted it with approval, that it actually at the end of the day reflected the overall wishes of Nigerians.
The joint final report builds on the findings and recommendations of 3 pre-election assessment missions in July 2018, September 2018, and December 2018, as well as preliminary statements released following the February 23, 2019 presidential and National Assembly elections and the March 9, 2019 governorship and state houses of assembly elections. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the presidency has welcomed the joint report of the International Republic Institute and the National Democratic Institute on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria and recommendations for the 2023 general elections. A statement by Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, says the report shows clearly that President Buhari won the election by almost 4 million majority with a 14% margin. The statement, however, says the most important thing in an election is that the victory reflects the will of the people. It says the administration intends to build on the innovations of the election that facilitated inclusiveness and participation, such as providing braille for physically challenged people to cast their votes.
Ensuring continuous improvement in the process of conducting elections in Nigeria and the efficient deployment of men and materials are the vision of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
This necessitated a nationwide review by the electoral umpire of its conduct of the 2019 general elections to improve delivery of logistics in future elections. Olabode Arewa reports.
The review covers general preparation for elections, issuance and collection of permanent voter cards, voter education, publicity, procurement and distribution of electoral materials, role of security operatives and the media, as well as civil society organizations. In Port Harcourt, stakeholders in the electoral process re-examine the successes of the last general elections and lessons to be learned on improving the process.
As a commission committed to conducting free, fair, and credible and peaceful elections in Nigeria with an outcome that will inspire the confidence of Nigerians, this review is therefore necessary to ensure we do not fall short of our goals and to enable us to improve in each upcoming elections.
In Katsina State, the one-day workshop involved electoral officers. The meeting noted the need for more voter education about the voting process and ensuring effective logistics for future elections.
Over the next 2 months, the Commission has planned to engage with all its stakeholders.
This is an area where, the area of those who conducted the elections, those who participated in the election, those who pretended on the election, are here to look at the elections.
In Oshogbo, ensuring seamless cooperation between the Independent National Electoral Commission and the security agencies were some of the issues discussed.
And I did say again that the 2019 elections were conducted according to law.
What we are concerned with is that not bringing money to our police stations on election day to come and start sharing money for people. That is what we are basically concerned. But I know in future, the Commission may also engage with the security agencies.
INEC is optimistic that the lessons learned from the last general elections will stand as foundation for improvement on subsequent elections. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. When we come back, there'll be more news. Do stay tuned.
Advertising your goods and services on the right channel gives you an edge over your competitors. NTA News 24 has all the platforms for your target audience. The station is on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46, StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. With our digital format and wide range, we can reach your customers in next to no time. We are eager to promote your business, goods, and services. So partner with us for a very rewarding business experience. For more information, please call Henry on 0803-379-0884 or visit our office at NTA Headquarters, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. NTA News 24. News and more news.
The Nigerian Army is working with the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FERMA, to ensure easier access of military personnel to the hideouts of criminals as FEMA embarks on the maintenance of rural roads across the country. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, announced the partnership during a strategy meeting in Abuja. One of the major challenges which hamper military operations is the availability of motorable roads to enable military convoys to move into battle zones. efforts by FEMA in carrying out major repairs of roads in the northeast of the country has not gone unnoticed by the Army High Command. A special operation to clear vegetation along the Abuja-Kaduna Express Road particularly came up for commendation because the route is notorious as a hideout for bandits.
Recently, we have seen a lot of activities going on our roads. Hitherto, bad roads that were in bad shape have been put together.
For the Managing Director of FEMA, the agency considers itself an important partner with the military in security affairs, as the road network across the nation is a framework of Nigeria's security architecture.
Availability of resources have been a major challenge, so we just do have to prioritize. Part of the reason why we're happy with their presence here is we are confident when you do your general security assessment, we will put in a word or two about the necessity to give further support to FEMA.
The various road maintenance projects currently being undertaken by FEMA across the country are at various stages of completion.
And the air component of Operation Aradin Daji has degraded a camp and neutralized scores of armed bandits in airstrike conducted at a location near Dangote village in Zamfara state. This is in continuation of troop operations aimed at rooting out armed bandits from their safe havens within the various forests in the Northwest Army. During Aramola, the operation was executed based on credible human intelligence report indicating that some armed bandit leaders had assembled for an overnight meeting in a cluster of huts at the location to plan for attacks against nearby communities. Consequently, after confirmatory intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance, ISR, the air component dispatched 2 Alpha jet and an attack helicopter to strike the location. The Alpha jet attacked the location in successive passes, neutralizing the bandits. Some surviving bandits who were firing at the attack performs platform while attempting to flee the location were mopped up in follow-on attacks by the helicopter. He added that the Nigerian Air Force, in collaboration with other security agencies, will sustain its operations to flush the bandits out of the northwest of the country.
And the Nigerian Navy Forward Operations Base in Bonny, Rivers State, has handed over 23 suspects allegedly involved in oil crude theft to the EFCC. The suspects were paraded before newsmen in Port Harcourt. Kingsley Amajiri tells you more about this.
The operatives of the Nigerian Navy tracked down the 23 suspects in 2 different operations involving 2 vessels, MV Chebube and MV Blessing. The commanding officer, Forward Operation Base, Captain Kolawole Oguntuaga, while handing over the suspects to EFCC, said the Nigerian Navy aggressive patrol of the seaways and elaborate surveillance was instrumental to the arrest.
We have acquired platforms. We have the AIS system, we have the Regional Maritime Awareness Capability System, including the Falcon Eye facility. We use all these to gather information to be able to pinpoint where these illegal activities have been taking place. And the strategy in place has been very effective.
We're going to go into deep or district investigation to find out if the suspect on board who are found called for possible prosecution.
MV Chebube was laden with 750 tons of illegally refined automated gasoline oil, AGO, while MV Blessing had 80 tons of AGO before they were apprehended. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Now, Governor Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger State has sympathized with communities in Shiroro local government area recently attacked by suspected bandit. Fatima Osman report.
Available records shows that 2,004 people were affected, including male, female, and children, with 4 deliveries so far recorded in the IDP camp. Out of this number, 35 people were confirmed dead, with many others sustaining various degrees of injuries as a result of gunshots by the suspected bandits and are presently receiving medical attention. One of the victims, Danju Matanko, narrated their ordeal, while Muhammad Kabir Abdullahi of Alawa community appealed to the state government to take adequate measure to address the security challenges.
We are running, we are shooting us, and all of them, they are on top of motorcycle, Honda, new one.
We are appealing to the governor. Here's the game reserve is belong to the state government. Let them release the place. Let farmer enter to farm there, because that is the actual place that they used to hide themselves.
Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, who described the unfortunate incidents as uncalled for, assured that government has put in place measures aimed at tackling banditry in the state, including posting of the Joint Security Task Force to keep vigil of the affected areas.
We have to do our best so that they go back home. Then we'll look at a comprehensive plan for providing more security.
The village head of Kwakiwaje, Alhaji Balabawa, urged the government to hasten action in taking measures that will end insecurity bedeviling the area. I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
Nigeria Trader Money and Market Social Investment Initiative wins Africa's most impactful financial inclusion award. Comfort Amodu brings you up to speed on this and more business news.
Nigeria Trader Money and Market Social Investment Initiative bagged Africa's most impactful financial inclusion award at the Africa Bank Award held in Equatorial Guinea. The organizers say the social investment program is thriving, especially in delivering financial products and services to wider parts of the society. A statement by Laolu Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Office of the Vice President, lauded the organizers for the recognition, noting that 10 million people are to benefit from the program in the next 4 years. He added that 2 million Nigerians are currently benefiting from the program. And while investors have indicated interest in Nigerians' mango value chain, Ministry of Trade and Investment is to provide all necessary documents that can bring out the country's potential in the tree crops.
And then we can secure the proper financing. We hope to generate at least 400,000 mango trees in every state of the Federation.
In other business stories, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NSE, has listed Lafarge, Corn Oil, and 32 other companies as defaulters in minimum listing standard and timely disclosure of their audited annual financial statements. According to NSC, sanctions for non-compliance with periodic financial disclosure obligations will attract a fine of 50% of its annual listing fee, including 25,000 Naira for every day the issuer remains in default, among other sanctions. And investors lose 51.79 billion Naira as market sentiment turns negative. NSE All Share Index dips by minus 0.39%. With business news, Comfort Amadou.
Now, the foundation stone of a multi-billionaire rice mill has been laid by the Katsina State Governor, Aminu Bello Masari.
The project, which is the first of its kind in the state, is intended to transform Katsina State from a smuggled rice entry point to a commercially viable rice-producing state. Correspondent Abdul Malik Hassan reports.
The quantum of foreign rice being smuggled into Nigeria through the borders in Katsina State is quite unprecedented. However, the multi-billion naira rice mill project, with a capacity to produce over 300,000 metric tons of rice annually, will change that narrative. After laying the foundation for the project in Katsina, Governor Masari said the initiative is answering the clarion call of President Muhammadu Buhari to make Nigerians self-reliant in rice production. He says he was happy to know that the company will provide direct and indirect job opportunities to people in the state, especially the youth. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
In the meantime, Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni has warned contractors handling various construction projects across the state to ensure compliance to standards and deliver quality work as agreed in contract specification or risk losing government contracts.
The governor handed down the warning during inspection visit to the ongoing construction of Yobe International Cargo Airport in Damaturu, the state capital.
The International Cargo Airport, situated 25 kilometers away from Damaturu, the state capital, was initiated by the immediate past administration, with construction work commencing in October 2017. The initial contract sum was 11.3 billion and price to 21.7 billion raised by the Federal Airport Authority, Civil Aviation Authority, and the International Civil Aviation Organization. During an inspection visit, Governor Mai Mala Buni said he is satisfied with the level of work, emphasizing that his administration came to complete all ongoing projects and ensure that they are carried out according to specification of bill of quantities to upgrade the living standard of the people.
Let me use this opportunity to call on all contractors handling all ongoing projects for speedy completion of projects with strict adherence to specifications as agreed.
The total payment made to date was 61.14%, while the total work executed stood at 58.52%, with control tower 80%, runway 65%, while access road stood at 52.6%. Ministry of Work, Transport and Energy, Abdullahi Mohamed Jawa, who took the governor around the cargo airport, said if completed, will be one of the cargo airports in the country that has the longest runway of 4.1 kilometers. In Damaturu, I am Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
Now to health matters. The recent survey conducted on HIV/AIDS shows significant reduction in the number of HIV/AIDS cases.
Speakers at the maiden joint review meeting on HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria say this vigor and tempo should be seen in the fight against malaria and tuberculosis.
Aisha Uba Ali reports that the assessment meeting highlighted some of the challenges bedeviling programs, including the health system challenges.
If not TB or HIV, the most common health challenge that has been identified as the cause of increased number of hospital visits is malaria. These public health challenges have always called for concern among public health experts. The essence of the joint review meeting on HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria is to establish accomplishment of programs made last year, while demanding the need for government, development partners, and relevant stakeholders to justify the outcomes of their programs.
The same treatment we gave to HIV, so that we can know exactly what's happening. We need the same in TB.
Some of the issues highlighted include the need to ensure that government at all levels are involved in strengthening the healthcare system, effective data application, as well as providing adequate financing.
Despite the fact that the cases are out there, but do we even have enough services to diagnose them, to detect them, and even to place them on treatment?
For me, the largest strategic enabler is the leadership that we see at state level and at central level, because that leadership saying how important it is in Nigeria to improve primary health care, to improve TB, HIV and malaria services.
Other recommendations made are the need for expansion of TB programs, ensuring availability of treatment kits, as well as continuous advocacy on the use of insecticidal treated mosquito nets. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
And the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is taking advantage of the present administration's effort to enduring universal health coverage for Nigerians to launch its integrated health program in 3 states of Sokoto, Bauchi, and Kebbi.
The mission director says all is set to hit the ground running. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Records from the Federal Ministry of Health show that the most vulnerable groups in the society are mothers and children, who are always prone to the negative effects of various health problems that exist among the population. Nigeria has made notable progress, particularly in refocusing its attention to primary health care, maternal and child health. However, neonatal, infant and under 5 mortality is still a challenge. It is in a bid to further tackle the challenge that the American agency is partnering Nigeria and investing $225 million to strengthen health system which supports primary health care and services.
IHP will focus on improving quality maternity and newborn care in health facilities, on routine immunizations, malaria diagnosis and treatment of common childhood diseases, all of which data show will significantly reduce incidence of mortality of mothers and children.
Applying a life cycle approach and seize every opportunity to offer high impact, inclusive, gender-sensitive health services, removing barriers to access and coverage.
Chief of Staff to the Kebbi State Governor Suleiman Muhammad Argungu spoke on behalf of the 3 benefiting states.
We will do everything possible to support this network and promote equity, quality, and dignity. We will strongly make quality of care as a priority within the framework of universal health coverage.
2 more states are to benefit from the 5-year program. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
And now to sports, NFF President Amaju Pinnick challenged Super Eagles to win AFCON 2019 title.
And in tennis, Naomi Osaka battles Maria Sakkari in Birmingham. Now let's join our sports desk for details of these and more.